Hi, this is Elliot Eisenberg of Graphs and Laughs, here to catch you up to date on the latest in residential sales data for Hillsborough County. And in terms of prices, they didn't move at all. Multifam, 0% increase. Single fam, almost 1% increase. If we look at sales activity, down almost 10% for single fam and almost 6.5% for multifam. Not surprising, given high prices, lack of inventory, high interest rates, and so on. Sales prices are now 98.4% of our list price on the single fam side and 97.9% on the multifam side. They're weaker than they were a year ago because the market's weakened. If we look at pending sales activity, it's down about 14% for single and about 16% for multi. Again, high prices, high interest rates, lack of inventory, and so on. Last but not least, inventories are declining on the single fam side, down almost 9%. And while they're up about 33% on the multifam side, inventory growth is largely over and it will now begin to decline year over year. Inventories are getting tighter again. In Pasco County, single-fam home prices declined about 3.5%, but they went up about 3.5% on the multifam side. Kind of cute. If we look at sales activity, not surprisingly, in single-fam, it declined. Not a lot, 3.5%. But it went up a whopping almost 24% on the multifam side. Multifam is rocking. If you look at sales price, it declined from 100% to 98.6 on the single fam, and on multifamily side, it declined to 97.7, also from 100%. If you look at pending sales activity, it declined almost 1% on the single fam side, but on the multifam side, it skyrocketed almost 67%. If you look at inventory activity, it went up about 1% on the single fam side, but on the multifam side, it went up closer to 70%. Here in Pasco County, multifam is essentially on fire. In Pinellas County, single fam home prices went up about 3.5%. But on the multifam side, they fell by about 0.5 percentage point. If we look at now sales activity, it fell 9.2% on the single fam side and almost 4% on the multifam side. And that's again because, look, houses are hard to find, interest rates are higher, and prices are pretty high as well. If you look at the sales price as a function of list price, a year ago for both types of property, they were 100%. Now they're 97.6 for single and 96 for multi. Clearly signs of a weakening market. If we look at pending sales activity into the future, they're up 3.8 for single fam on the single fam side. That's the strongest of all three counties, and up almost 1% on the multifam side. Lastly, if we look at inventory, they're down about almost 10% on the single fam side and up 72% on the multifam side. Turning our attention to the national economy, the second quarter of 2023 is going to turn out well. We're going to have GDP growth of somewhere between 1.5% and 2%, a strong number. But that strong number comes with baggage. First, because the economy is so good, the demand for workers is strong and unemployment remains very low. That gives workers an incentive to ask for pay raises, and that keeps wage inflation higher than the Fed wants it to be. It's now 4.3, the Fed wants it at 3%. Moreover, while inflation's been falling quite rapidly, the Fed fears it won't fall far enough. As a result of that, the Fed raised rates at its July meeting, and it may well raise rates at its next meeting in the middle of September, or possibly the meeting after that at the very end of October, early November. We'll see. The Fed's telling us that they may raise rates because the Fed doesn't want to begin to make a U-turn and prematurely cut rates. They did that accidentally in 1980, and what happened was inflation came roaring back. This Fed was late to raise rates. The last thing they want to do is compound their error and lower rates too quickly. The upshot of all this is that the hope that the Fed would pause in rate rising and pivot and begin to lower rates sometime soon is completely out the window. The Fed's not going to begin to lower rates until the end of the first quarter of 24, maybe sometime in the second quarter. It's a ways off. The combination of pretty strong GDP growth and still low falling, but still elevated inflation is causing 30-year mortgage rates to stay up in the 6.5% to 7% range, much higher than we'd like. Last but not least, The recession, which I still think is likely to come later than I had thought. It's not going to come in the third quarter, maybe the fourth quarter, or as late as the first quarter, and maybe not at all. And the reason I say that is because while the Fed's raised rates so far, it hasn't had a deleterious effect on the labor market and consumer spending. And that's because of pent-up savings that we acquired during COVID. All kinds of demand for services that we couldn't enjoy during 20 and 21 and early 22. And we see the housing market, sales activity of new homes doing better, car sales doing better. And as a result, those factors may give us a bridge to get beyond this, and even though the rates are high, not generate a recession. I'm optimistic we won't get a recession, but still think we will, but it won't be that bad, and it's been pushed off further into the future.